Hello, everybody. This is Sorsha Runarias, and with me here tonight, I have Aramana Sul of the Black Tower. How you doing, brother?
I am doing great, sis.
Excellent. So we are live. That is excellent. I'll try to keep up with the chat. There we go. Okay, we are good. We are set.
Okay, can everybody hear us okay?
Anybody watching, let us know if you can hear us okay, see us okay. If there's any lagging, buffering, things of that nature.
I have no idea. I don't see anybody saying anything, so
That's okay. We will go do our thing. So yeah, the title, emulating deity. Feel like a lot of people focus on different entities, different pantheons, and that's interesting. You can learn a lot by path working, by connecting with deity, connecting, with different entities. But I think people get hung up on it, or they venerate this concept of godhood, of deity, as something to strive for. And you know the premise that I'm coming to the table with is that we can go further than godhood. We are more than that. Godhood, the concept of it is like, it's an interesting idea. It's yeah, aim high. On an earthly realm, that seems like what we can aim for. But I think we can go further, because godhood, the idea of it, is still a human construct. What are your thoughts, brother?
well, first off, hey Shocky, thank you for being here with us, brother. Uh I'm kind of watching this side. Okay, so my thoughts are that we not only work with these beings, but in the emulation of them, we become these exact same gods. We become like them. We unlock those hidden aspects that they are within ourselves until we are like perfect mirror images. Not exactly copies or clones, but because each being individual and unique, all their own, being the star that we each and every single one of us are, it allows us to shine light the way that only our individual selves can shine that light through
Mm.
the face or the mask of the deities that we work with.
Yeah, it's like, faucets of a diamond. A lot of people, look at different deities as being like a mask of, like a core energy, a core current, and different deities are different faucets of this diamond. I don't know, that may or may not be the case. I'm not really sure yet. Um, I guess it kind of depends on your perspective, but I see it as, yeah, you know, like a more of a matter of resonance, like you said, as you emulate them, like you become them, but from your own walk. You're not like a carbon copy of them. um I think by coming into resonance with them, it imbues you with something special. It imbues you with something unique, but you have your own resonance to add to that. So, does God become more like us in return as we move closer to that idea?
Wow, I I honestly, if you think of God as being the collective, uh, in that sense, and God experiencing itself through us as we are it and it is us. Yeah, I could see that. I could most certainly, I could most certainly see how the varying vibrations that we call self, being able to not only mimic uh, these other faucets of the diamond that we are, but also at the same time, it gives us the ability and the chance to not only allow us to experience it from another concept or perspective of thought, but at the same time to be able to change uh, the world one piece at a time. Uh, the deeper thought that I have with that is something that I was taught years and years ago. That as we unleash the power to change ourselves, we unleash the power to change the world. And I
Mhm.
think this is just another step upon that path.
Yeah, there's a lot of, ideas, as we have mankind, the collective way, has created religion, has created all these constructs, all these boxes, all these faces of the deity to come to terms with, their surroundings, to understand the nature of things. You know, Man has created God in their image. Um, but yet they have become limited by the same constructs that they did indeed create. So if you can step out of that and go further and take these ideas, for what they are, the archetypes, the energies, whether they are external and internal, um, and just go further, like with that authentic self, that authentic core, it it changes you, it changes the world around you, it changes even the potential, I think, of the constructs. We're always going to be building bigger and better things, whether they are, physical things or spiritual things.
Yeah, I have sometimes the way my mind works is, and I don't know if this is because I was raised up playing chess or what it was, and having to think 3 or 4 moves ahead. But for some reason, when I think of along the lines of the occult, and I think in these different realms and spaces between, and these angles and so forth and so on, but sometimes I'm literally led to a concept that, whereas hate hate for, like for example, there are so many people out there who disdain the word God because they come at it from a religious aspect instead of from a spiritual personal aspect of God within, God without, we are God. uh, but if you're coming from that point of view, then this next part that I'm about to say might make a bit more sense. So hate takes away from us, whereas love limits us. And I think that the true concept of emulating is going beyond these smaller vibrational states of being to a greater cosmological state of being, if that makes any sense.
Hmm. Yeah, like what I think a lot of people feel like certain things cannot be God. We were talking about, like, from a religious perspective, depending on the box that you're, filtering it through. Um, there's a lot of things that would be considered godly or not godly, but yet if each person is their own expression of deity and they're out of those constructs, then you know what? God can be anything. God is in the face of every person, that spark within. I mean, from the most highly respected person in your society to, a crack whore on the street. That is all God. God's a crack whore. You know, God is, like, yeah, that's gonna be my thing tonight. God's a crack whore. Hmm. I mean, this is what all these things are. So who's to say what is not God? Like, what is God, what is not God? If you're a human, you're God. So God is all of these things. God is all of these facets. So just by being yourself, you are already God. You don't have to become God. You can, emulate when it comes to these resonances as you tune yourself to evolve. I would say, emulate in that respect, but don't, we were talking earlier, the boxes and the religions require worship, but the essence of these frequencies, these beings, when we give them, a face, they don't require worship.
uh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Like we were talking earlier about, and it was what it is the strictest things that I adhere by, and more so lately, I guess, is that the belief system that I work with is that the gods neither need nor desire nor want our worship. You know, the things that I imagine that they want from us, and this is only coming from personal experience. This isn't universal truth, one truth for all. I don't buy into that bullshit. But one of the concepts though that I use is that one of the things that I could see deity actually fucking wanting from us isn't our blood and our worship and this, that, and the other. I think it's our connection to them. I think that on a really weird, strange level, it's an energy exchange. You know, they give us their presence, their support, their energy, their influence over ourselves and over our world and over our life in exchange for recognition of tapping into them, because there is an exchange. There's an exchange of our life force. There is the exchange of allowing our minds to be shifted, shaped, and changed by their presence, by their place within us and about us. And so, in that sense, I think that that's what I think of when I think of deity, and what deity desires out of us is that that union of physical, non-physical, kind of like, you know, the own spirit within our body is bound to this flesh.
Mm-hmm.
They, in a sense, are given they're given space, they're given place within our cosmology, you know, our universe, our personal universe. And you know, when we revere them, when we honor them through either, you know, through statues, through seal sigils, through offerings, through saying their names, sharing with others, whatever avenue that we're taking with this, you know, we are giving more to them than we are aware. We're giving them a stationary place within our existence, and when we do this, that is reciprocated 100%. It is given back to us. The respect that we show them, that we show that force of that power, is reflected back to us. Then they give us the exact same thing that we give them. It follows suit with a practice that I have where, you know, when everything is in order within you, whatever you emanate with, the universe has no choice but to most perfectly reflect that same existence right back. And, you know, and that's vibration. That's just the root of it.
Yes, you know, that order, that vibration. Um, what's interesting, you know, I'm finding is like, you know, people use a lot of things to disqualify one from being God, if that makes sense. You know, they say, well, hey, if your life is going to shit, obviously you're not really hooked up with very spiritual things. Things are going bad for you, you know. And you know what? That could be the case. You know, there's a lot of people that just have no sense of the spiritual and they struggle and they're miserable. And that could be one layer of the reality. However, you know, like I mean, deity is also, you know, chaos, you know, it's both, you know, order and chaos, and learning to, you know, navigate that, ride that, um, and operate effectively within it, wherever you find yourself, whether it's in a period of order or a period of chaos, um, and not be discouraged or disqualified by it. And recognize that, like, okay, regardless of whatever circumstance that you are engaging in, faced in, um, it doesn't change your underlying nature, if that makes sense. You know, we get so wrapped up in, you know, the physical things around us. And yeah, we all have bills to pay, things to do. We got to, you know, survive in this society. However, when we can tap back into that underlying thing within us and around us, and you know, create anchors in space and time with this, you know, divine infernal nature that we have, you know, it's not veneration, it's not worship, but it's anchoring, it's connecting, it's creating that space, and it just brings them more fully into the world. It brings that reality more fully and that potential more fully, um, to be able to be explored within the physical. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, going with the subject at hand, uh, one of the things that truly brought me to this, I had the pleasure of speaking with a brother of the arts today, and I was explaining to him about the dark night of the soul and about going through that and how painful that was. That point where I chose, to walk a path really not walked by too many. People say they want something, but they don't understand what it is that they're asking for. Second off, they have absolutely no knowledge or idea of the cost that comes with it. So I wanted to learn how to be the God that I am, how to tap into my own power, not tap into the power of other deities, not worship or revere. But if I was going to worship and revere something, it was going to be myself. Oh man, I should have had my head examined, or it should have came with a handbook on what to expect and what comes from that. One of the things that I went through was the dark night of the soul. I absolutely lost my faith in myself. I lost my faith in the deities and the gods and goddesses, powers and everything. And I found myself alone in an abyss. And it was a cold, cruel place where nothing existed. And it stole from me hope. It stole from me life. It stole every concept and every construct I had ever created. And months went by of this, and I mean, I had become suicidal and all kinds of crap because I mean, it got fucking awful. And the strange thing is that when it finally ended, because I was calling upon any kind of deity, anything, and nothing would answer. It was like all the gods had turned deaf to me. It's like everything had just turned its back on me. And normal people would swear up and down that they were under attack and all this, that, and the other, but this is part of the process of becoming the God that you are, of being the God, of that God coming into consciousness, into awareness, into being. Not becoming a God, because we are gods, but to bring that force and that power into the flesh fully, 100%. And it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen 100%. It's a slow progress thing. It is, but the whole process is something that you have to learn to love. But at its very core is what I call the death current. At the very core of it, there is nothing. It is the unfathomable abyss, darkness, void. And if I thought for 1 second that I understood what death was, it wasn't until I'd gone through the dark night of the soul. And I'm going to tell you, when I came out, I was shaken to my core because it made me afraid to die. Because I was like, what the fuck have I created? I haven't created shit. There is no life after this for me. If I had not crafted and created this, it opened my eyes to so many truths and so many points that have to be taken into consideration. For the normal person, their soul's going to go through stages of evolution, of ascension, and so forth and so on. They're recycled until they reach a certain vibration, a certain tone, until they're ready for such. And then when they talk about those who have failed, and those who, and by failed, I mean failed, like truly failed, they become husks. They are the zombies. For lack of better words, they're empty vessels. There's nothing there. The light no longer shines. You can't spark it. You can't create it. They're the empty husks that go around, stealing others' life, others' energy because they have none of their own. And this is something to actually, honestly, be aware of. That this is one of the signs.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not supposed to give up. You're not supposed to, just fall to the whims of the universe. To awaken to this state, this consciousness, you have to design by desire. You have to. And when I came out of it, it was just like, okay, I no longer believed in things the way I did before. And instead, I had to approach the gods completely different, not as something that would save me, not as something that would help me, but as guideposts, as guides, as tools to get to where I wanted to go. And I can by no means call myself, 5, 6 years later, a master or a, anything of that sort. All I can say is that, I am still becoming. I've never ceased that. I'll never cease being that. Yet at the same time, to attain these things, be prepared. The pain, the agony, the loss. If you're not ready to throw everything up on the altar of self-sacrifice, don't even hint that that's what you want. Don't even play at it, because the universe will pull it to you. The universe
That's
will make it.
exactly right.
It'll
That's
make
exactly.
sure that it has a heavy cost, but is the price worth it? And just be mindful of that.
For me, I touched the void and the void touched me back, a couple years back, and I've live streamed and chatted about it, written about it. But yeah, about the void, it's like it strips you bare of all that you are not and only leaves what you actually are. And it was kind of a terrifying thing, everything that you hold dear, everything that you think that you are, all of your thoughts, it takes that all, shatters it, rearranges it, and then you're left with like just your core. And once you accept that and then step into that and then operate from that, you are operating from your core godhood. Um, and that was an interesting thing for me to kind of go through myself. And it was not easy, and the cost was very high. Um, I lost a lot of things in my life, people close to me, parts of myself, were definitely sacrificed and left and remain in the void. Um, Something with the void, when you're really like connected to that, when you're operating from there, you never quite leave. It's like we always have one foot always there, always still there. That current flows both ways. um it's an interesting, and it affects your life. It affects everything in your life. Nothing is untouched by the void. Nothing is untouched by that understanding. And you go about your day, your life, you do normal things just like everybody else, but there's always that sense of the other. um and that in and of itself is a sacrifice, because you can't unsee it, you can't unfeel it, you can't unexperience it. And nor would I want to, because once you get past that point, once you get past the terror, once you get past the stripping away of everything that you were, um revealing this pure spiritual gold, um that will serve you better than any illusion that you would cling to, um on any other level.
Yeah, it was funny. I've always had my guides and my guardian spirits and all this, that, and the other, but it was like being stripped naked. It was probably the one of the harshest experiences I've ever been through. But in the end, ego died in that place. My ego, uh, and I need people to understand the difference between ego. Ego, we have to have a balanced ego. Period. End of story. But when I say that my ego died, I'm talking about the ego I had before. The way it was changed. Death touched it, and what I gained though from going through that was in according to Abramelin the Mage, I have this thing of the conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. Well, I'd had the conversation of my Holy Guardian Angel. My Holy Guardian Angel led me right into this. But the funny thing is that after this experience, then came the Holy Daemon, uh, and that I'm not gonna lie, it was really strange, because up until that point, I had my HGA sitting there, just guiding me through all this wonderful realm and all this wonderful stuff. And just as soon as I go through this experience, it became transformed into the daemon, and this daemon has been with me ever since and guides me in everything that I do. Uh, I can't any longer. I can call I can call a deity or an entity or a spirit, and I can call it, and I can have respect for it. And I don't look at it as if it's below me, but I absolutely do not look at it as if it is above me or greater than me, but that it's just different and has its own realm, its own sphere of influence. And so, and so it's very hard to explain to people this thing because, they're like, well, I've heard of the HGA and, and now the daemon and so forth, so on. What most people fail to understand is there is this spirit that is with each and every single one of us. And it is the purest aspect of self. And depending on what you've done with your magical practices, whether you're working on ascension, evolution, of becoming spiritually, you then shape and shift it. It becomes changed with you because it is not separate. It is you. Just it is you without this and without the limitations. It, think of it as your higher genus, as they would say, and you've got the
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah, it's been an interesting, journey thus far since, my own experiences and journey, through the void. And looking at, this concept, of higher self, it is self. It is just, different layers of self that we wake up to, that we access, that we experience, on these different levels, but being able to then bring that more fully and step into the physical with that understanding. And from that place, I think is what really helps drive us and evolve us as magicians, because we do have an expanded range of power that comes from within. It's not given to us by any entity. It's not, granted by anything external. It's something that really emanates from within when you discover that within yourself. And it doesn't mean that we don't partner with entities. I mean, I still work with, plenty of entities regularly, but at the end of the day, the core is, okay, this is myself, my core, my power that I operate from. I'm happy to partner with things and learn what I can and evolve, because that's part of the journey. That's part of the joy of it. Um, but I think when people get so wrapped up in, the external aspect of it, everybody wants to, just partner with entities to teach them things, do things, make pacts, and these are all like things that we can do. But when that's all people want to do, they're selling themselves short, because they're not realizing that, we are powerful beyond measure. We have unlimited power, you know, in truth. Okay. On the physical realm, yeah, we are bound by certain physical things. Like, I'm not going to go jump off a building and think that I'm going to be fucking Superman. Like, that just, would be not what I think I need to do, because I'm probably going to go splat. I haven't figured out this whole levitation thing. I mean, when I do, I'll like, I'll let people know, but that's not something that I'm going to put to the test. Um, there are physical things, because, whether it's gravity, whether it's, we all believe that this happens. So, and so thus it is, whatever that is, it seems to be pretty consistent. So I'm not going to go roof diving anytime soon. Um, but when it comes to, what you believe, and about your own core nature, seeing yourself as unlimited, but seeing yourself as, okay, yes, I'm unlimited, but I've chosen to accept certain limitations within this physical realm so I can, play by these particular rules. But I know that at my core, I'm way bigger than this, this limitation. And when you start, looking into that, then you really do have more possibilities that you can bring into the physical. Um, so that's where I'm at. And that's what I, hope other people can, look into for themselves, test that out for themselves, because you might get some really interesting results. I've got it, it works for me. That works for me. I can't speak for everybody else, but, when I had that shift in understanding for me, I did things that, could be perceived and said are miraculous, results in magic. And we've talked a bit about it, with some of the work that I've done, because I got these very direct results as a result of these understandings, this ritual, boom, it happened. It was confirmed by several outside sources. And, there's part of me that says, wow, that's miraculous. No, that's just our nature. Like, we are magical creatures. We are powerful creatures. It only seems miraculous because, maybe it doesn't happen every day, but anybody can do this. Anybody can do these things and get seemingly miraculous results. But, they're just results of, eradicating self-doubt and going forward confidently in your work. Shifting reality.
Yeah. It's everything that we do in this life is we are constantly creating, destroying, and recreating. We are constantly doing this. And with that in mind, there are things inside us that are sculpting and creating our realities outside of our conscious awareness. And this stems in part with the subconscious, from what I refer to as the Garden of the Gods, where where everything grows and comes from. It's the seeds that we've planted within ourselves. It's the design of our systems that we've created that that are autopiloted, for lack of better words. It's kind of like the computer program runs on its own. You just have all the different apps and stuff running on it, and deep down inside, no matter what the fuck we're doing, we're constantly learning and constantly trying to elevate ourselves above, where we're at this point. It's easier to just give up or to just be like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. It's harder to get up and just get about doing it, to actually accomplish it, to actually work it. But the secret to it is not to think about it. I use a concept of Zen no mind. It's where you literally you clear your mind, where it is still, where it is silent, where it is like an abyss of sorts, and there are no thoughts, there are no feelings. There's just existence, just being. And in that state of being, that is completely without any kind of intention, without any design or anything else, from that point, visualize what it is that you desire, visualize what it is that you want, see it. Because if you can see it, it's going to manifest, it's going to be created. And the rest of it is all about whether or not you have applied the right knowledge within yourself, whether you've created the right vibrational state of being. And then it takes, in the same hand, it takes actually going out there and doing the physical work involved. And and I use the saying, a sorcerer's work is never done, because it never is. From the time you get up to the time you go down, from the time you go down to the time you get up, you're doing shit in your sleep, because we only think that we're going to sleep and that we're shutting down. We're not. We're actually awakening on another level and continuing the work from there. And that's the most important part to understand, is that we are always in motion. We are never at rest, not true rest. The physical body might be slowing down, might be, shutting down and so forth and so on. But our consciousness is still existing, is still working its thing. And so, it's important that we have, tools or exercises that we work with to increase our awareness as we are dreaming. Because even in our dreaming world, if we can awaken in the dreaming world and direct it, then, as a really good brother of mine, would tell you and explain to you, that's the secret to being able to retain your consciousness even after death.
Yep. And being able to, be more aware of that, to, it's like strengthening a muscle, it's your spiritual muscle, your, magical muscle, whatever that is, by utilizing it, by understanding it more, by just, being aware of that fact. It does allow you to expand yourself, well beyond, this realm, on this timeline.
Yeah.
And even physical, mundane things are acts of godhood. And I experience this every day. Like some days I'm really heavy into the rituals, and other days it's more okay. I'm focused on everyday tasks. Like, okay, for example, you look around me. My room right now is in chaos. Why is it in chaos? Okay, because I have lots of projects ahead. I have, you know, toasters over here, coffee pots over there. I have a shelf, leaned up against the wall. This is not just me being, a slob, because I'm not. I'm usually pretty neat. But for me, I have to shake shit up. I'm a creature that thrives in chaos. So sometimes, I get things really neat and orderly, and it works for a while, but I always crave change. I always am changing things with my altar, with my ritual space. Sometimes it involves my entire space that I'm in, you know, and so I will destroy it. I will move things around. I will pull shelves off of walls. It will be like a little cyclone of activity, and it will look like chaos, and it will feel like chaos. But for me, this is an exercise in, okay, still being able to keep centered and operate and do things and function amidst some chaos. And then it goes back together again. I reconfigure it. I put it, in different ways, and it looks awesome again. It feels awesome. It feels orderly. But I go through these seasons where it's constantly this season of, chaos and order, chaos and order. It's this beautiful dance. And for me, it manifests physically often in my spaces that I create, because I have to do that for me. It works for me. Shifting things around on the physical, it also mirrors that on the spiritual, and vice versa. Um, I get different perspectives. Like, I will literally, rip down an entire room and sit on a ladder for an hour, just staring at my space, envisioning different levels, different things. And then I get like an entire flood of creativity that then is applicable to magical things. So literally, by changing my position physically in my space, in my realm, it carries over into the magical, and that's just in a day that I'm doing that. And then of course, dreams are a whole other level of that. But in my physical, I've been really aware of that lately, that has kind of been, what I'm doing is I'm changing things around, inviting chaos, destroying things, deliberately destroying things, and then rebuilding them and reconfiguring them. And then it gives me a whole fresh perspective and range of possibilities, because I've completely seen everything from a different perspective in the physical that then is applicable to the spiritual, to the magical.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're embracing chaos, you have to do the things to be able to maintain your home, so forth and so on, your finances, all this other stuff, right? Well, at the same time, you have to give and take for, stuff to go out and come back, so forth and so on. In Hermeticism, it's all equated to the swing of the pendulum. Now, here's the funny thing about the pendulum, and most people don't realize this. Okay, so the pendulum is way easier to understand. The pendulum works about like this right here. So I'm sitting here doing this video with you, and the knowledge that I'm putting out there, the sharing of experiences, so forth and so on. Sitting here as your brother, just communicating with you, this family communion moment, for our audience, to maybe help somebody, with some ideas or thoughts. That is energy going out. So the pendulum swings like this. Now here's what happens. That energy that I've put out, whatever happens afterwards, is the pendulum swinging back. It's the same thing as when you go and you spend money at a store. So you go and you earn money, the money comes in, you need something, the money goes back out. This is the pendulum swing. Every time I've tried to get people to try and talk to me about the pendulum and how it works for them and all this other stuff, man, sometimes it gets really crazy. And I'm just sitting there like, see, it's not like a law of return. And it's not your energy coming back and all this, that, and the other. The pendulum swing just means that whatever action or inaction that you undertake, that it is going to be reciprocated. That's just how it works. It's like when we're talking about energy exchange, and the emulation of these deities, these forces, these powers, even so much as giving them place within our psyche, within our spirit, within our self, within our world around us. That is reciprocated. That's why when you go and you call upon them, it's why they answer, because it's being reciprocated. well, you kind of need that, you know. But
Yeah, it's like you're backing it up. It's like you're backing up your intents with the action. The you're supporting that on all levels. It's not just, like one intention. It's like, okay, you're taking these steps. You're this energy exchange. It's a give and take. It's a push pull. It's a balance, and yeah, that does make sense.
oh, so it is so weird. I enjoy doing these videos with you because I get to like have like really deep conversations. Uh, that normally most of the time, if it's just me sitting here staring at a screen, I really don't know what to fucking say. I can go over details and so forth and so on, and express myself the best of my ability, you know. But when I have someone that I can actually sit there and talk with and go face to face and just, be bouncing ideas off of and not be confronting uh, my supposed greatness versus somebody else's supposed greatness, that whole ego trip getting in the way, where I can just be wailing, laid back, and can sit there and just toss this stuff back and forth. It's reciprocated. And see, and I enjoy
Exactly.
that.
Like I love our conversations. I get a lot out of it. I love talking with you. I love, sharing ideas. And again, it's not a dick measuring contest, okay? Because that's not what we're about. We just want to be able to share, connect, share ideas, put it out here, interact with other people, because that's what it's about. That's what we're about. That's, like one of our core values is building community, sharing things and what works for us. And you know what? Sharing our ups and our downs and everything in between. And, I'm not going to like pretend that, wow, everything in my life is perfect because I'm a badass black magician. No, sometimes I have days that just suck, that I fucking just hate, and other days are fantastic. I mean, everybody has their ups and downs, but it's like and generally I feel pretty good about life. I feel pretty optimistic. I feel very confident, you know, and yeah, sometimes I have to like, do mundane things just to kind of like get by and function in society and pay bills and things. But, but like, I don't know. It's just a different, core value between, other people out here just, posturing, pissing, trying to be the biggest, bear on the block. And it's like, okay, that works for them, but like what's the point? I would rather authentically connect and share ideas and be real, because, like people want to know that you're real. They don't want you to be like untouchable, unattainable, unapproachable. Um, we're all humans. We all, you know, have things that we struggle with. We all have things that we like exceed in. And, that's just how I see it. Um, but we all are magnificent. We all are powerful. We all are, pretty awesome fucking human beings. Um, and, we all kind of do things our own way with our own understanding. But I mean, I feel like there's enough posturing out here. There's enough puffing of chests. And I appreciate that, we can just sit down and talk and share and connect and, put it out here and do what we do.
Yeah. You know, you've brought up a point twice, and it's something that I'm always conscious of, is the fact that we are only limited by how much we limit ourselves. If you only think you're capable of this, then you already limited yourself. We limit ourselves with that. But when we allow ourselves to think, believe, breathe, and live our fucking life as if we are the infinite divine, that our words carry weight, carry power upon all the planes of existence, not just the ones known, but the ones unknown. When we allow ourselves to be powerful, when we give ourselves permission to exist upon all levels, when we embrace that dichotomy of just of the totality of existence itself, of what it is not, when we allow ourselves to be that, what happens is we start to act like we're capable of doing things. And when we act like we're capable of doing things, we become capable of them. See, we spend so much time telling ourselves, I've got to have this kind of money to have this. I've got to have this to have that, and so forth and so on. I've got to look good for this chick or this guy. We hold ourselves so so much. We hold ourselves so fucking back. And I got sick of this years ago because I realized something. The path to immortality, the path to power, the path to greatness, the power to success, and all this is within our grasp. But the concept is if nothing else, clear your fucking mind. If you can't believe that you're capable of doing something, at least remove the negative thought that you cannot or that you don't or that you won't. You've got to fucking remove that out of the equation. And when you do that, you become this fucking unstoppable fucking force. And there is nothing that stands a chance between you and your goal. Aleister Crowley said it best: to do your will, and none other shall say nay. Well, it don't fucking matter whether somebody says yay or nay about whether I can do something. The only thing that's going to say yay and nay is whether it manifests or it does not manifest. Well, Smiley, it goes a little bit beyond believing, because, see, believing means that you have to have hope or that you have to think. What I'm talking about is something much, much more primal, much deeper. It's where you know it, and not in your head, but in your heart and the whole of your being. That's the point of, you've got to, the mind has to be removed from the equation. You cannot allow the mind to get in the way. You can't allow any kind of thinking, any kind of concept. You have to exist in that emptiness, in that void, in that abyss. And then when it's torn apart, when it's taken from you, then you create within your mind the design. What is it that you want? What is it that you need? What is something that you're going to have that nobody can tell you you cannot have it? And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull in that force, that power, that life. You're going to draw it in. You're going to make it a part of your body. You're going to create your body from it. You're then going to create design by desire. And that's the key to success on that level. You've got to have that kind of, you can't fucking stop me. I am unfucking stoppable. I'm beyond powerful. You haven't even met or known the degree of power I am speaking of. And you have to allow that primal roar inside yourself to rise up, that I am a God and I said no. And you command. You have to command. Because you're not commanding.
And that's the thing, people. Is there's no room for negotiation there. There's no room for doubt there. And my void work, that's what I learned in the void. That's what I sacrificed, was my self-doubt. I still had some lingering self-doubt. And with the experience that I had with it, getting the results I did, because it was a knowing, it came from a very desperate situation. It was literally life or death, and I was, not willing to lose somebody. And it was just like, I am going to create this reality, and that's all there is to it. It was that simple in my mind. And now the reality was, like, there was like some serious work to get there, magically, spiritually, emotionally. It took a lot to do the thing. However, it was as simple as, accepting, no less. Accepting, there was no other option for me. It's like, all I entertained was success. That was the only thing. It's like, no, this is the reality. It's just simply a matter of me pushing this reality into the collective and forcing it to take root and supersede. It was that simple. It was that easy and that hard. It wasn't easy emotionally, energetically. It took a huge amount of energy to do this, but it was as simple as simply, I will settle for nothing less. I'm God, I'm queen of my fucking universe right now, and I'm acting from that understanding, and this is what's going to happen. And so it did. And that's what happened. I got the exact result that I wanted. And it exceeded my expectation, because that was the only option I entertained in my being, with every fiber of my being, everything that I was. It was to this particular, reality that I was creating, around this situation. Okay. And that's what happened. It was just, it was unstoppable. There was nothing that could stop that. Because it was a matter of will. It was a matter of understanding that core power and pushing it out there with no doubt and no limits. That's the thing, is not limiting myself. But I find that just like even in day-to-day mundane stuff, I'm having to learn some new skills to get the things that I want in life. I wanted certain furniture, certain physical, things in my space that, I wasn't finding anywhere on the internet. And I'm like, it doesn't exist in the physical plane. So I guess I'm going to have to do it myself. So I'm having to learn a little bit about basic carpentry. I'm having to learn a little bit about construction. I went and bought myself some good power tools. So I do have power tools now. And it's like, as I'm amassing supplies, tools, I'm kind of like prepping for it. Now the project unfolded. And now I'm able to build a mezzanine level that will, be able to give me some more space within a space. I'm able to create like a better magical space, more multi-purpose, for my magical endeavors, because I wasn't satisfied with what was here before. And it's still in a state of kind of flux and chaos right now, but I have the tools that I need because I said, you know what? I'm not finding what I need externally. This has to come from within, but I'm going to have to, educate myself on some certain things to make sure that, the floor doesn't come crashing down, and, that would not be good. So I'm having to learn some engineering. I'm having to learn some things quickly because I want to get this done. And so, but even doing that, even something as simple and mundane as that, it's affecting my magical work. It's affecting, what is, possible in my mind. It's like I was limited before on the physical realm because I'm like, well, I don't have this and I want this and I'm just not finding what I need. So I have to build it myself type of thing. Okay, well, why can't I? Well, why can't I? I'm going to do it. And okay, so I'm doing it. And here it is, I'm doing it. And then magically, I'm pushing the limits more magically because I'm pushing it more mundanely as well. It's tied hand in hand. And being able to just have that confidence and know, you know what, I'm going to create my space the way that I want it, and my magical universe, my magical life as well. And that mindset has served me well. Because then I'm able to more forcefully interject my will and do what I want, get what I want, get the results that I want, and just be more assertive with it on all levels. But it carries over mundane magic. It's, it goes both ways for me.
Yeah,
But it is that, as Smiley Plays Productions, yeah, you unlocked your potential. Yes, I am. And it's not just like it's like a constant unveiling. It's a constant, evolution for me. It's like, I'm discovering more and more layers. And, sometimes we get to a point where we're going really good. Then we hit a plateau. Well, then, you got to climb higher. You got to go deeper and higher. And for me, I'd kind of hit a wall with some things on the physical. Then it's like, okay, but I want this. So I'm going to have to do it myself, apparently. But I'm going to have to learn a few things before I can actually do it the way that I want to do it. So that's the process that I'm in. But I'm starting it. I'm taking those steps, and it's going to be epic when I'm finished with it. So, it's going to be good. But then being able to, to remember to, and the other funny thing is, as I learn things as I need them, and as I start taking even little steps, something as little as buying a tool, something as little as buying the wood that I need, and the, everything, the joist hangers, everything that I need. Then it's like, I get the patterns in my head. I get, the instructions. Because I'm thinking, well, I know what I need, but I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do it because the space is really unique. I'm like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to do it, but I don't know how. So I start buying things. I start bringing them to me, and then the inspiration hits, and and the spirits are talking to me. They're like, okay, now that you're ready to listen, and now that you are prepared, now we go forward. And then it's like I find the information I need, whether it's the right tutorial, whether it's a conversation with somebody that's more knowledgeable in certain things like that. And then it just floods me. I get the inspiration, and then I can go forth confidently and do that. And it happens, magically too, as we share ideas. I mean, we get inspired by each other. We share ideas, we get inspired. We learn things all the time. We never stop learning. And it is like a constant evolution and a constant unveiling, a constant, remembering these understandings, these deep wisdoms that we just have to like bring them out, let them out, expand them, and see what's there.
Yeah. You found your authority and your seat of power within yourself, and you're putting that shit to use. You're making it work for you. There's nothing more beautiful in the fucking world than somebody that knows themselves, and then what they don't know, they learn, they teach themselves, they pick this up, because every little piece makes us who and what we are and what we will be. you know And I love that about you. I love that you're that kind of person that, you don't let the shit stop you. You just, you keep growing from it. You keep, rolling with the punches, you know, because every time we fall and pick ourselves back up, we've become stronger. Every time it's a new lesson that we've learned. It's wisdom that we've acquired over however long a period of time or short a period of time.
I mean, thank you, man. I just, I never want to stop learning. I never want to get to, be one of those people that are just, they're full of themselves. They know it all. They come off like, you know, masters of the universe, that I know everything. And, like that's so unattractive and unappealing. And, you know, I just, I don't see that happening, but I really just, that's just revolting. It's spiritually revolting to me. It repels me. I don't ever want to be that. And, if I ever started doing that, like pin slap me and be like, sister, what the fuck are you doing? You need to ratchet down a little bit. I mean, I think that we have enough people in our lives that will tell us and be real, like, hey, you're being an asshole. Like, what the fuck? I think people like, I know that you care about me enough to like be real with me. Like if, and I, same with you. I mean, we can check each other's egos, and we can receive that feedback and, know that it's coming from a loving place. Sometimes we hear things that maybe we don't want to hear, but if we can be open to it and open to that feedback, then I think we grow as people. And that's better than being so stubbornly attached to having to always be right and, appear to, be the grand poobah of the universe. I'm fallible. I'm human. I make mistakes, but I also try to, rectify my mistakes. I try to educate myself in areas that I, maybe am weak in, that I need to learn to get the things that I want in life, whether it's educational, magical, mundane. Is something as simple as watching a tutorial on how to, build a raised floor. I mean, it sounds simple, but it can still affect, so many levels. And, being able to just be open-minded and admit that, I don't know everything. But I never want to stop learning. And, you're the same way. It's like you're genuine. You have like this hunger for knowledge and this sincerity and this, motivation. And, I think that's a really good quality that I very much respect in you.
Well, damn, you gonna make me blush. Misa do that. That's humor. Humor is by far my favoriteest tool in my arsenal. I, uh, I enjoy the seriousness and I enjoy the becoming and the learning and the raw and raising the power and all this other stuff. But by far, my favorite thing is I like the trickster archetype aspect of self, where I can break out with something silly or something stupid at myself, like you killed me. God is a crack whore. Oh, like holy shit! Because I'm like add that to my arsenal.
Sometimes you just, kind of come out my mouth. I don't always censor them before they come out, but yeah.
Oh hell, never do that. Not around me, because I'll tell you what, I take it just the way it is, and I enjoy it, and I'll always put it in the right category, because there are so many people out there. As long as they're led by their emotions and their own personal this and their own personal that, no matter what you say, they're gonna fucking disagree with you, have a problem with you. Fuck them. Who needs them? I don't. Uh, but as long as you're being, you just the way you are, I mean, and this goes for our viewers too, because I mean, how many of you, you are who and what you are, and you don't carry your attitude with you. You just, you're a person, and and you're gonna always run into those fucking idiots that you're just sitting there going, seriously, you waste all your energy and all your life and all your time being stuck and hung up on something fucking stupid. Fucking let the shit go.
I see
How
that
do
all
you
the time out
contend with
here.
that?
Mm-hmm. I think that, we can spend our energy either, snarking, sniping, and bitching at other people out here, in little keyboard warfare online. I mean, that's such a waste of time. I mean, or we could be out here doing magic, you know, being gods, being more than gods, you know, self-made gods, you know, whatever that is, you know, for us. I feel like, you know, we have so many more great things within us to do that it just, all this other petty shit, it just detracts from that. So let the petty shit go and do things that, you know, that bring you joy, that are meaningful, that are badass, you know, for you, for your life, that are, you know, working on your own ascent, whatever that is, whatever path that is. You know, and just, you know, being out here and doing it and connecting. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, right. You know, it comes back full circle with the subject we're having about emulating deity. You know, yeah, imagine what separates them from us isn't the fact that whether or not they're created of emotional energy and have feelings or anything else, but what they don't have are the shortcomings of our limited thinking. They are vast and boundless beyond us. And yet at the same time, then we have to turn around and realize it's not that they are. We are. We just haven't grasped that. We haven't ran with it.
Exactly. Grasping that, running with that, you know, and becoming that more in the physical, because, you know, we're already at that on this oversoul, this higher, you know, higher self level. It's like we're already there. We're already these, you know, these radiant, powerful beings, you know, outside of our bodies on these other levels. Boom, we're already that. We don't have to do anything with that. We just are that. Okay, but here we are in these physical bodies on this physical earth with these, you know, particular set of collective rules that, you know, like gravity, like I said, not going to try to be Superman, you know, not today, motherfuckers. You know, that's just not what I'm going to do. You know, people would, you know, they try to disqualify your magic by saying, well, if you really believe in your magic, why don't you, you know, go jump off a cliff and fly? No, like I think that that would cut my journey on this earth short, or at least, you know, break my leg at the least, and neither of which would be good for me, you know, with my plans and ambition right now. um, but yeah, like on a higher level, yeah, we are way beyond any of those physical limits. But while we're playing on this playground, these are the rules that we have collectively agreed to play by on some level. So let's just kind of respect that, but understand that, yeah, there are times when, I mean, I'm sure that there are, you know, exceptions to every rule, physical or otherwise, absolutely. um, but being able to, you know, keep it in perspective and balance it out. I mean, I think that's, you know, that's a big part of it. And you know, just kind of understanding that and going forward, you know, from that core power, that core understanding, you know, we'll serve people well, because, you know, it's, you know, resonating at that level of godhood, it's operating from that, you know, and understanding that, okay, you know, hey, if you're having a crappy day, you don't feel like a god, you don't really feel omnipotent and all powerful, and, you know, that's okay, because it's just, you know, it's maybe kind of limited in the physical, but you still have it on these other levels. And, you know, you'll have bad days, you'll have good days, you'll have in between days, but, you know, the core of you is this infinite thing of power. Don't forget that. Keep a hold of that and keep operating from that, and then it will become more and more your physical reality. And, you know, and to me, when I think of, you know, emulating gods, you know, it could manifest in many ways. I mean, but like the kind of the visual that I get in my head when I think about that is like a tuning fork. And I use this example sometimes with, you know, the demonic entities that I work with. It's like, okay, if they're a tuning fork and we are a piano, you could hit the tuning fork across the room and that piano is gonna sound that note. All of these entities, all of these god forms are tuning forks. Okay, so as we emulate them, we resonate with them, it tunes us, it brings this frequency more and more into the physical, even though the piano wasn't touched directly, just by the resonance, the piano played the note and it manifested physically. Okay. So it's the resonance. And then being able to then, you know, hum with your own tone. That's like your own power. It's a powerful thing. And I think that more and more people are doing that and understanding some of those principles. That's the visual that I get, and that's kind of how I see it. But I think that there is, you know, room for expanding on that and delving into that a little bit. But that's kind of how I see it, as emulating God. It's like a tuning fork. It tunes us. It brings us into resonance with those frequencies, with that potentials, with those, possibilities. And then it comes out in the physical, whether it's, demonic, whether it's divine, whatever that is, but it's the resonance.
Oh yeah. You know, it's funny that when we're talking about resonance, vibration, and changing and shifting consciousness and all this, that, and the other, that our reality mimics the inner world within us. And I've been saying this for about a year now on my channel about the whole how to manifest your desires, how to manifest your wants, and all this, that, and the other. Manifest your needs. It's all based on the exact same principle. That imagine yourself as the tuning fork in your analogy. Now imagine the universe is the piano. It's got to match you. You don't have to match it. And I think a lot of people really get confused in thinking that they need to become this and they need to become that. And what they don't realize is that we, each and every single one of us individually, set the tone or the note, vibration, etc., of the universe around us. And when it's kind of like I've heard different sayings from different people, concerning the way you think. Whatever you are consumed with in your mind, you create. And even in my own world, I don't wake up every day going, I'm fucking awesome, and feel this raw, raging power inside me, and that I'm a god and all this, that, and the other. Hell no, 90% of the damn time, I want to be left the hell alone. I don't want to hear shit. I want to drink some coffee and be left the fuck alone. And then after 2 or 3 cups, I'm cool. Somebody wants to talk, great. I might get online, check out Facebook or, just whatever. Or hell, I might not even get to it for like 2 to 3 hours because I'm busy doing other things. But the thing is that I set the tone from the time I get up to how I want the next few hours to be. Because after I've sat there and contemplated and set the design in my mind, my actions after that are going to release that energy. And now, for example, here lately, I've been back and forth Facebook now because I don't own a cell phone like everybody else does. This is my cell phone. It's really fucking simple, easy. It literally just has buttons, where you can make calls and get basic text and stuff. No pictures, none of that stuff. Because I don't necessarily trust being logged in everything underneath the sun and think that a cell phone's safe, because a computer to keep viruses off of it. Oh my goodness, man, there's all kinds of stuff. So that's neither here nor there. But the thing is I try to keep it so simple. I'm not going to sit here every day of my fucking life and try to keep up with what everybody fucking thinks of me, of whether they liked my post, whether they this, whether they that. But the thing is that what I want to do is to go beyond, logging into Facebook and saying I have 40 messages, and come to find out 40 messages, I might have 5 comments and 35 likes, dislikes, or whatever. And I'm sitting there and then I have to realize, holy crap, these people aren't sitting at a computer, it's a cell phone, so they're scrolling through. And this is how fast our society is moving. This is how fast people's minds are working. Now imagine if you could set that aside and start putting your magical practice in your own daily life, rolling through it just like you do scrolling through a cell phone. Imagine how much of your own life you would fucking change.
Exactly. If people spent more time, doing the magic and spending time, with themselves, out in the world, rather than just, constantly social media for that, checking in all the time. I mean, I do spend my time, I spend some time on Facebook, but it's like, I go through seasons and seasons of time where it's like, sometimes I'm more active, but, it's like, but just never losing track of, okay, but at the end of the day, what really matters, that's yourself, your core, your magic, the people like right around you, close to you, that you hold dear. That's what really matters, more than any external thing or social media platform. But, you know, understanding that, you know, everything that we're doing is either supporting or subtracting from our magical ability, the level of energy we have, the level of time we have. It either it or undermines it. And, you know, understanding, when that's a mentality that you understand, then everything is kind of called into question. You do think about how you spend your time and where you spend your focus. You know, if it's something that is supporting what you're doing magically, or is it detracting from that? You know, I think that we would be more mindful on where we spend our time if we really thought about each thing that we did more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't knock people's methods. I do not. It's like getting on here and I'm talking about my cell phone and so forth and so on. I I don't care if you were born with that cell phone in your hand. I don't care if you plan on it being buried, with the latest one so that in the afterlife you can keep up with it. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But learn how to make it work for you. Learn how to integrate it into your own spiritual practice and how to expand on it. And I don't mean, spread the good word via social media, but learn to like literally put it on silent. Learn to literally not respond to everything that pops up. Now, what that's going to do is teach you self control first off, and self control is a great form of learning how to harness and strengthen the will itself. You know, even when somebody upsets you, aggravates you, your reaction to them. If you can stop yourself from reacting, whether it's through typing back, whether it's through an emoji, whether it's through opening your mouth and saying something to raising your fist against them. That self control, builds the willpower. Because
Well,
all in
exactly.
all, because all in all, everything that's actually going to make a difference in your world is going to be based on how much or how little self control you have, how true or untrue you are to your own word, and how strong or not strong your will is.
No, exactly. And it's like the difference between like a knee-jerk reaction, like reacting to something versus responding to something. One is just a reaction and one is more mindful. Um, one will serve you well and one will not. Um, Understanding, okay, with what I call kingship mentality, understanding, your word is law. You are, you're God of your own world in a way. We are all gods, so we all are creating this reality, individually, collectively. We experience it on different levels, but understanding that, like you said, how do you keep your word? Well, if you're constantly breaking your word and breaking plans on the physical, then what does that do on the magical? If you can't keep your word to people, the spirits aren't going to take you so seriously. That undermines, not only your alliances spiritually, but it undermines your will. It undermines your word, because then your word really isn't law if it's constantly, changing once you've given it. So be mindful how you give your word, and where you spend your attention. That's something that I think people don't think about enough. We're very casual in our word, but when we start understanding how our word creates our reality, how the word, the spoken word, is related to DNA, to quantum computing, and and Oversoul had mentioned quantum computing can be organic. Absolutely. you know there's like a whole other, that's going to be a whole other discussion we're going to have to get to here pretty soon. But looking at then, okay, quantum computing, but also looking at, okay, DNA as storage vessels for information. This has already been done. They've already, you know, saved information within DNA, written code, computer code into DNA. So, okay, if we can do that on one level, we can do it on another level. When we understand how light, vibration, and language can change and edit DNA, then that's even more godlike. That is, I mean, that takes it to a whole other level, because then we are taking control of our own evolution into our own hands even further. So yeah, that's going to be that's going to have to be another live stream, I think, for another night. But it's an area that I'm fascinated in. I'm really interested in delving into that further. But yeah.
I'd like to actually go into that a little bit more in detail another time too. Uh, we've sat here and we've discussed. I think the more active elements in it, maybe more passive. I'm not really certain which category that would fall in. Because I think it's been a nice mix or blend.
Mm-hmm.
But I would at some point in the future like to go through that with you.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one. And definitely, like, I think that, just kind of, looking at this concept of, godhood and, this emulation, whether it's, coming into resonance with something else or inserting your resonance and therefore you are God because you are you're not just like following a pattern, you're creating the pattern, as gods, as magicians, we create the pattern and then reality falls in line. Either individually or collectively. And that's, kind of the bottom line of it, I think. That's how I see it. But we're always able to, push the envelope, push the limits, become more than even God, rise above God, whatever that is. Keep unlocking layers of infinite potential.
Yeah.
But you guys are awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for coming out, for joining the chat. It's so good to see you guys. See you guys out here. If you haven't, definitely check out the Black Tower, subscribe to his channel. If you're here, subscribe to my channel. You can definitely find us on social media, Facebook, From the Ashes Publishing. You can definitely, keep in touch and stay abreast of things. But I think it's going to be fun. We'll have to plot and plan some more good live streams. And,
Yeah, because this was a little bit of a last minute idea that we come up with here. Uh, but I love doing these with you, and I love the people that actually come out, and I love how they're active, how they actually ask or comment or something, because that is so awesome, and I think that says a lot towards the alchemy that we create here, and that's not taking anything away from you or I or anything, but that's just I love how that works out.
Oh, me too. I love these live chats. Like I said, podcasting, doing, pre-recorded stuff can be fun too, because you can talk, you can put it out there, it's all ready to go. But I think it's a lot more dynamic, when we have people popping in. Hey, there's Joseph Noon at Behemoth X.
Hell yeah, there
you guys. Hey there, brother. Definitely check out his channel, give him some love. But yes, it's been a fun chat. Thank you guys all. We're actually wrapping it up, but we'll be on again before too long, and we'll probably go into some of these other topics that were kind of thrown around. But thank you guys so much for popping in. It's awesome to see you. So thank you, and
I love
thank you,
it.
Aramata. Yeah, this has been fun. And you know what? Sometimes these last minute things, are fun. And it's funny because it's like, yeah, I try to, sometimes I like to be all, set up and have my space all nice before I'm live streaming. But you know what? This is just, me like in a state of transition. And so I think that, it's kind of fun to see that too and share that with people because you know what? That's where I'm at is like in this interesting state of transition and change. So
I think it's cool you're teaching yourself shit on how to do that.
thanks. It's been an interesting learning curve, but I still have a long way to go for some of the fine details of this little project. But it will come together, and as I take active physical steps, towards that goal, then the information and the things come when needed, and then it happens.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I love me some Joseph Nunn. Oh, what
Yes,
up,
me
Healing
too.
Bay?
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming out, and we'll definitely see you guys soon. Okay.
Yep.
And thank you again, brother. Thank you for live streaming.
Oh, yeah.
And
Thank you, sister. And thanks every single one of y'all for coming out.
all right, see you guys. Thank you again.